time for our speakers. Good morning. My name is Taylor Nicoletti. I am a child psychology assistant professor at the University of Notre Dame. I'm originally from South Bend, so I'm full of pride this morning, both of like how beautiful our library is, and also what amazing work is happening in our area, and just how much I know as a kid, my friends, family would have benefited from what's happening now. So excited to be here. I'm going to go ahead and sort of introduce each of our speakers. They're all three different organizations representing what it means to serve young children, young adults, families who are improving access to care in Michiana. So we welcome Takisha Jacobs. She is the co-founder and director of Connect to Be the Change. She'll be speaking today about the Youth to Young Adult program. We also have Dr. Erika Kelsey, and she is the director of the Emotional Wellbeing Program at the Boys and Girls Club of St. Joe County. And then finally, we have H.R. Jung. He is the executive director of the LGBTQ Center. He will be speaking today about their youth drop-in in partnership with Seasons Counseling. So each of them are going to talk for about 15 minutes, and then at the end, we're going to have some time for questions. Okay, let's get started. Got it.
Hi. How's everybody doing today? Good. Smiling faces. Come on, smiling faces. Hey. Okay, so I am the director of the Youth to Young Adult Community Project for Connect to Be the Change, and also a co-founder of Connect to Be the Change. Connect to Be the Change is a group of young people and mothers and therapists and psychologists. So we mothers have lost our children to gun violence. The moms that are part of our group. So we needed to figure out how to navigate through the stuff that we were going through. And I'll tell you a brief, it is hard. You have thoughts of self-harm. You have thoughts of harming others. It's a horrible time in life to lose a 15-year-old child, innocent child, to some violence that he had nothing to do with. And so I didn't know what to do. So we started an organization to figure out what to do. And when we started, I met a psychologist. Her name is Dr. Heather Holloman. And when I met Heather, I didn't know what, I was like, who, where, how, but she said some things and did some things, and I was like, wow, this is what I need, and which was some therapy. And so as I'm going through this therapy, I have all these young people sitting in my house. I would get up. I was depressed for a long time. So I get up and I got like 25, 30 young boys sitting in my living room. And I just go in my room and come in, and they're all sitting there. And they're mourning the death of their 15-year-old friend. I have football teams, basketball teams, people, coaches, teachers, principals, everywhere. Like it tripped me out that his death brought all these people around. So I had there's a group of young men that they were hurting. And as we know, hurt people hurt people. And so Loria also, her sons were young. And she's got all of these, we both have all of these young people. And these young people my son was 15 and her sons were 19 and 17. So they're all in that age range from 15 to 28 years old. My oldest son is 28 now. So we have all these people in between doing all of this, they're taking time bombs and they're hurt and they're wanting to hurt other people. So what do? How do we started this organization and we're taking bullets from people, and I literally can go up to some young men and just give me your bullets out your gun. Huh? Give me your bullets out your gun. Why? don't you value your life? At first it was, give me the bullets because it's for Abdul. Give me the bullets, it's for Abdul, give me the bullets. So because it was for Abdul, they gave me the bullets. Then it was, don't you value your life? I want to save your life. I want to save you, and it's a genuine thing. So once we started doing that, and we're taking these bullets from these young people, and if people have bullets laid around their homes where their kids could get to the bullets, they're giving us these bullets and we're making these bracelets. So then now I'm going through this therapy and I'm noticing the change in my mind. I'm not acting out in anger. Sometimes I would. Sometimes I would get the cussing and fussing, and I even hit a hole in my wall. And so I'm like, we have to change all of this stuff up. But I'm noticing the change in myself. So with our young people, we started doing group therapy, and they were coming out. We have 30, 27, 25 in these huge groups, and it's hard to maintain these big groups. And Heather and Tracy and Crystal are like, oh my gosh, there's so many. It would be so many. So we had to start breaking it up into 2 groups. And there's times when we have to break the 2 groups up. And then when we have a group, we have to break that group up because it's so many. And you're like, well, everyone is asking, how are you getting them here? We meet them where they are. I'll get a call, Keisha, it's a bunch of kids at the park, and they tripping and and I get up and I go to the park. What are y'all doing? Why are y'all here? Let's go. I am a mother, and I'm a mother to a whole community. So this is a part of our organization. We work differently from other organizations, but this is the way we strap up our boots and we can get in the mud and go work with all these young people. And so we're noticing how they're reacting to the group therapy. We were trying to get them in individual therapy, but they reacted better to groups. And once one person starts talking, and there was one person in particular, he just blurted, I was not expecting him to say it, but he just blurted out and said, I'm a shooter and I don't want to be a shooter no more. And I was like, oh. And then I'm looking and I was like, oh Lord Jesus. But he had been convicted of being a shooter already. But Heather came, and this was one of our first groups, and we're sitting at the table, and it's literally 15 of us in my mom's house at her dining room table. So Heather was like, whoo. Nobody was expecting him to say that. So I was like stumbled, like, what? You weren't supposed to say that. But when he said that, she was like, well, okay, so why you don't want to be a shooter no more? He was like, I don't like the feeling, I'm tired. I don't want to do that no more. And he felt so safe in that space to be able to say that. And Heather also let you know, and when you're in a group setting, and if this is a solidified group and you've got professionals, there's a HIPAA law. If you don't have, you can tell me whatever. But if you tell me certain things, I have a duty to report. And so he wasn't shooting someone. He had been convicted of doing it. And he was already serving his sentence. He was on probation at the time. And he's like, he's tired. He doesn't want to do it anymore. And having that safe space is what got him to get that out. And now he's not. The boy is working. And he's like, it's hard. At times it's hard. People make you angry. People make you mad. But we practice some EMDR therapy. And doing these types of things is where people, they're not reluctant to try new things now. And so this is how we work with Connect to Be the Change and young people in our organization. So we encourage people, if you have young people at home, pay attention to their silence. Pay attention to their posts. Your kids are on social media. However, I don't care what phone you take, I don't care what computer or laptop you take, your kids are on social media. I have taken phones, laptops, and I'm like, how? I'm getting messages. I have a rapport with the community. So I get messages and I'm like, I took that child's phone and they will get to school, get on their friend's phone and get the posted. They get a messenger. You have to pay attention to their posts. You have to pay attention to their silence. You have to pay attention to these things. I pay attention to your kids' stuff. And I can jump right in their inbox and, hey, what's going on? Where you at? And I literally stop what I'm doing and go straight to where they are. What do you got going on and what's the problem? Come here, let's go. Out to eat. I will take, and I don't make a lot of money at all. I will take my last to take your child out to eat to stop whatever's going on in their mind in those moments. And this is lived experience for me. If you have someone that can do that, especially for young people in our community, if you have people that can reach out to them, and I am only one person. So I can't do it for everybody, but we want other people to do that. And that's how we got our organization going, because we will stop what we're doing and run. And when we do that, it stops them from doing something stupid. I have laid across the couch and grabbed 374 or 373 bullets and told them, if you want them back, you have to shoot me in the back of the head to get them. But that's me being bold. That is what I can do. And when I got up and walked out, I'm still here. But they love me. And so they knew, I don't want you, I know you're mad and I know you're angry at this moment, but I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna take these and I'm gonna make some bracelets, and y'all can come get some bracelets. I'll make 300 bracelets and y'all come get 200 of them, but you're not gonna go shoot nobody. So this is what connects me to change does. This is what I do as a mother, as a community. I'm a mother in this community. That's what I am. And I don't take that lightly. That's what I mean. As a mother, I am going to be a mother. If I have to grab your child by the shirt and grab their face and tell them I care, and they ask, why? Because I'm your mama. I may not be biologically your mom, but I'm your mom and I care about your life. That is what is needed in our community with our kids. And with the mental health part of it, they need to know that it is not, you're not crazy. When you're angry, you're not crazy. When you're mad, you're not crazy. When your heart is beating and you're shaking, you're not crazy. It's a panic disorder. You may be having a panic attack or an anxiety attack, or you could be depressed and you're jumping out of it and your feelings could be heightened in the moment. You're not crazy. And these are things that we need to tell our kids. We need to let them know these things. It's okay to tell our kids this stuff. So I'm wrapping it up.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Erika, Kelsey. I know I was introduced already, but I'm the Director of Emotional Wellbeing for the Boys and Girls Clubs of St. Joseph County. I've been with the Boys and Girls Club for a little over 2 months now, and I want to do a little sidebar and say I've never given so many presentations or interviews or any of this in any other job that I've had. So I started thinking this morning, like, where did I first learn how to give a presentation? Is anybody here a Purdue University alum? If you are, raise your hand. COM 114, did you take that class? COM 114 is a introduction to public speaking class that's required for all Purdue freshmen. So I wanted to say, hopefully you guys think this is funny because it's my joke. This presentation is sponsored by my COM 114 professor. Let's see if she did a good job. All right, so I wanted to start off before talking about our program, talking a little bit about my trajectory to my beginning of my career to where I am now and why this program exists. And so, I've been a licensed clinical psychologist for about 11 years now, I think. And over different roles that I've had,
start to notice different problems that come up with barriers to access to mental health care in our youth. And I'm going to go through some of the problems that I kind of took notes on this morning, and there's definitely more out there. But one of the problems, so problem number one, is that about 50% of mental health issues arise by the time a child turns 14. And most of these kids aren't getting the right kind of care, or getting any care at all. And so what that means is then the problem starts to become more severe and gets worse over time. The longer you go with an untreated mental health problem, the harder it's going to be to overcome that and be fully functioning at your best self. Problem number two, there's a shortage of mental health providers in our nation, and there's an even greater shortage of mental health providers who work with youth. And so that's a difficult thing too, because we have wonderful facilities. We have our community mental health centers, we have our private practices, and there are people in our community that serve youth, but there's not enough of them to go around. Those who do work with youth, not all of them accept Medicaid. Not all of them work on sliding scales. So there's a cost barrier there for a lot of our families. Problem number 3.5, I don't know how many I've already done. It's difficult to navigate resources. I've talked with so many families that say they've been given a referral to this person and that person in this facility, and they don't know who does what or where to go. And then when they do call to make their appointment, there's a waiting list. And the waiting list is 4 months long or a year long, or they're not even taking any names to their wait list anymore. And so they just give up. They don't know what else to do. They don't know what else is out there. Problem number 4, there are barriers to even getting kids to the services if they do get an appointment. There's time. Maybe the parent works 2 jobs or 3 jobs and they don't have time to take them to their appointment. They can't have someone else take them because the parent has to be the one that signs the consent forms, right? Transportation, financial barriers, like I mentioned with insurance, the list kind of goes on. So with all that being said, there's programs out there that are meant to kind of mitigate this problem. There's integrated programs. I've worked in integrated behavioral health in a couple of different capacities. Traditionally as far as I know, integrated behavioral health is in medical centers. So prior to working at Boys and Girls Club, I was an integrated psychologist in a pediatric outpatient clinic. And that does help. You're able to, it helps with access to care and identifying children who might need a service, and the provider is right there side by side with their physician. But who's to say that integrated care has to stop in that medical model, because there's still barriers there. There's still insurance, there's transportation, there's stigma, there's lots of different things. So let's move integrated behavioral health into a after-school club, part of the neighborhood, part of the community that these kids are in. These kids and their families feel comfortable with the club. They have trust and rapport with the youth development professionals who work with the kids every day, like the club directors. So what if we brought in a behavioral health program into that existing relationship that's already strong, and do this at no cost to the families? So some of the things that we're doing at Boys and Girls Club, and like I said, this has been a project in the making, I'd say, for over a year, but I've actually been working on it for about 2 months. So we're really in the early stages. But some of the things that we're doing with Boys and Girls Clubs across our 25 sites, 25 locations, I'm looking at our CEO because that number changed recently, is offering on-site early screeners for all of our club kids to assess periodically throughout the year, just check in on their mental health and see how things are going. Fill out questionnaires, self-report questionnaires, parent report questionnaires, and see, are there any kids who are showing signs or symptoms of a emerging mental health problem or a behavioral health concern? And if they are, we can intervene. We can bring services right to their club site, right there after school, at our main site at the OC, wherever they are. We can meet the child, we can meet the family there. We can do this through individual intervention, small groups, psychoeducational training, things like that. We are also working to really educate and train all of our staff, our front-facing, our administrative staff, on how to be trauma-informed in our care and how we interact with the families and the kids. And just teaching them and helping them learn more about what to do if they notice a club kid is in distress. It doesn't always have to be the clinical psychologist or the therapist or the intern, but the non-clinical staff are playing a vital role in the overall well-being of these kids. So giving our staff the tools that they need to be successful and feel comfortable they notice one of the kids is more withdrawn and isolated that day, like feeling comfortable going over and talking with them about that and assessing and making sure that they're okay. And if they're not okay, let's get them some support. And I think this does help to normalize behavioral health care and treatment, just talking about it, having it as a regular part of our curriculum at Boys and Girls Club. We have social emotional learning programming where we work with the club directors and the staff on interactive fun ways to teach kids about how to talk about their feelings, how to develop coping tools, resiliency, skill building, and things like that. And then we also provide assessments. So this is another big one. So the schools do assessments. They assess for learning disabilities and other things that are within the realm of the school to offer accommodations. But there's a lot of times when the schools will refer those kids out to back to their doctor or go elsewhere because there's another assessment that's out of the scope of the school system. So we're also able to offer those through Boys and Girls Club. And actually those have been really successful. And I've been going into the schools and using their conference room in the early morning before school starts to grab the kiddo and do the assessment, meeting with the parents at another time, and really helping them get the immediate assessment instead of getting on those wait lists that we all know are exceptionally long right now in our community. And then get them into the treatment that they need to really thrive and be their best, most successful selves. And then we're also partnering with local universities to offer training opportunities for the various graduate programs that we have around our area. So University of Notre Dame's PhD program in clinical psych, IUSB has a master's in counseling, master's in social work, and there's a few others around where I'm starting to make connections and try to find a relationship that's mutually beneficial to where we can spread out our service and offer more to our kids because we have more hands on deck, and also offering training to those students who are in need of a supervisor and just getting out into our community and learning and getting to practice their clinical skills. And then last but definitely not least, I think this is one of the things that makes our program particularly unique and exciting is that we're offering all the services that I just mentioned, we're offering those to our staff members as well. Staff are able to access immediate mental health services at no cost through Boys and Girls Club providers. And the reason that this is important and imperative for us is because without our staff being their best selves and feeling like they're emotionally supportive and having that person they can talk to and getting the treatment that they need, they can't serve and be the best role model and person for our kids. And that's what kind of wraps it around and makes it a really like holistic program. And we're really looking at it from this lens of like Boys and Girls Club is our community and we need to make sure that everybody is thriving. And so I think that's pretty much the gist of the program. So kind of just to summarize, I guess our big initiatives are those early screeners, early intervention, the immediate access to care, assessments, training staff, supporting our staff, and then also continuing to partner with our community partners because we do have strong relationships with providers in our community that can go out of the directions. Okay, I heard like GPS going. I lost my train of thought. What would COM 114 professor say to do right now? Okay, so what was I saying? Thank you. Yes, thank you. Okay, so yeah, continuing to have those relationships with our partners because there are things that are going to be out of our scope. We're not a community mental health center, and we know that there are services that are going to be a lot more comprehensive and a lot more effective for some of our families. So I'm thankful for those relationships that are continuing to grow since I've been here for the 2 months, and they've been existing prior to me joining the team. So it's a team effort. I'm thankful to have been asked to be part of the panel. I'm excited to learn about some of the other initiatives because I think that partnership for us is going to continue to grow as we learn more about some of the additional resources in the community. Thank you, everyone.
Good morning. Morning. Again, thanks for the introduction, Taylor. My name is HR. I use he, him pronouns. I'm the executive director at the LGBTQ Center. I'm here to talk mostly about our drop-in for our youth and as well as our partnership with Seasons Counseling. But just a little bit about what the center does. We're a relatively small agency. There's only 4 of us on staff. We try to focus on providing some social interactions, building networks around the community. And that's not just with youth, but also with the parents of the youth or parents within the community who have LGBT kids who may be older than the youth that we have, and also the adults in the community as well. But today we're talking about our youth initiative and what we do there. So with our drop-ins, which actually tonight we have one and it's our Halloween party, so that'll be lots of fun. We try to do every Friday night from 5 to 7. We just hold open hours for youth specifically, ages 12 to 18. And what we do during that time is just allow space, because a lot of the youth that we interact with that are LGBTQ, they don't really have a lot of peer support or even sometimes adult support. So we try to provide that for them with this space. Many of them are homeschooled, or they go to a school that's small enough that they may be the only out LGBTQ kid, or they may not be out at all, and they don't really have that, you know, peer-to-peer network. And so what this really kind of allows is for the youth to come in, hang out, get to know other youth, even if they don't go to their school, and kind of build those friendships. During the pandemic, it was very difficult to do. When we first hit the ground running in the pandemic, we started doing Zoom calls, which if you've ever tried to do Zoom calls with kids, you know. It was a lot of me talking to blank screens everywhere with the mics turned off, and I was like, this isn't working. And then the kids just stopped showing up altogether. So we redirected to Discord. And if you've never been on Discord, if you're old enough to remember AOL chat rooms from the 90s, that's pretty much what it was, with a few extra bells and whistles. But I just kind of chuckled because I'm like, everything old is new again. It's really kind of amazing. We saw a lot more success with that. It allowed kids to interact with each other. You know, our room was on lockdown. There was a lot of gatekeeping to get youth in there, just because we wanted to make sure the kids were safe when they were in that space. And we've seen a lot of success with that. We still keep that up, even though we're now meeting back in person for our Friday night drop-ins. But we see that as a great addition to what we were doing, mostly because we see kids from all over the country, honestly, who come in and out of that Discord server. You know, we've had kids from California, New Jersey, Miami, just everywhere. And also we saw a lot of kids who were over in Elkhart County who, for whatever reason, can't come to us at the center here in St. Joe County. And so it's a good way to maintain those communication lines, give them a place to interact with other youth that are like them, and also adults that they can talk to if they've got issues. So staff is on there, interns when we have them are on that channel, just for them to, you know, reach out if they're having issues at home or at school or just personally, that they can kind of have that conversation. And that's what we try to do with our youth drop-in hours. We also try to have something fun for them to do, or educational / fun, because educational alone won't get it. So we try to have something going on during those drop-in hours. We've had people who've come in and done creative writing classes with them. We've done art classes. We do just crafting days. They love crafting days. The one that's really popular right at the moment is Dungeons and Dragons. And that's really great for our population specifically because it allows them to play in a character that they built themselves. You know, we see a lot of gender diverse trans youth who, you know, they don't get to live their authentic lives in their real life, but this gives them an opportunity to play a character that looks the way that they feel, acts the way that they feel. So that it's a really great kind of, in a way, therapeutic. We don't approach it in that way specifically. We don't say, okay, kids, this is therapy now, and we're talking about this. It's just a great way for them to express themselves, and we really kind of love that a lot. And then, you know, if they don't want to do any of that, we have, you know, a large library that they can read books, they can play games, we've got a Switch. You know, it just gives them opportunity to kind of get to know each other. If you've ever interacted with a group of LGBTQ students or youth, they're very introverted. They don't really go out and interact with each other. So that's where we as staff and volunteers kind of jump in and kind of initiate some kind of interaction with them. And, you know, when we were coming out of the pandemic and started coming and meeting more in person, what we were seeing was a lot of these kids just weren't they come in, it was like a 6th grade dance. You know, it was like one side over here, another side over here, and nowhere did they ever interact. And that's kind of what we were seeing. What was really gratifying was probably about 5 months ago, we started seeing kids just coming in and needing no prompt from us whatsoever. Lauren, who was working with us at the time, she goes, "This is great. I don't have to do anything. I just really unlock the door, put the pizza out, and go have fun." And they do, which was really great because that's where we wanted them to be. We also saw, you know, we see kind of waves of kids that come, kids that need us for a certain amount of time, and then they build up a social network and they don't necessarily need to come to us anymore. And that's great. We love that. We'd love to work ourselves out of a job, which is really kind of what we're doing when we're providing these services to them. We don't necessarily just focus on the kids. We also try to focus on the parents, because this has been a change that I personally have seen over the last 20, 30 years. And it's a great change, is that parents are a lot more involved with their LGBTQ kids. They're a lot more accepting. They're, you know, the number one thing that I hear from parents when they come to us and they're kind of in crisis because they feel their kid is in crisis. And their big thing is not, what did I do wrong? Why is my kid, you know, queer, trans, what have you? What did I do? Which is, you know, 20, 30 years ago is what we would hear the most. Is like, they would be like, oh, we did something wrong and now they turned out wrong. What we're hearing now is more, I don't want to say the wrong thing. How can I be supportive of my kid? And, you know, like that's incredible. And we love that. And so, you know, models for youth and LGBTQ in the past has always been, well, there is no parent there that's supportive. So we are there to do all of that. And maybe it's to help the parents get to a place where they can be accepting of their youth and kind of fix that. Now we're kind of focusing on, okay, how can we give support to the parents? And something that we try to do at least once a month, usually it's about every other month, is one of our Friday nights, we don't have the activity at the center, we do it somewhere else. And we invite the parents and the rest of their families to join us for this. We've done bowling nights. We just did a trip to one of the, I can't remember the name of the farm, but a pumpkin picking place that had corn mazes and all the other fun stuff. Go-karts was go-kart and putt-putt golfing was very popular. But what was great about that is the kids will bring their parents and their siblings as well. And it was just a great way for those parents to build those networks as well. Because a lot of times, you know, they may have grandparents who aren't accepting, or the kids aren't out to the rest of the family. They're just out to their parents and maybe their siblings. So they've got aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents who don't know. And it's really difficult for them because they don't have what would normally be their outlet and their network to talk to about parenting issues. That particular parenting issue, they have no one to talk to. So this really kind of gives those parents a great opportunity to meet other parents who are in the same situation and give them that network, which I think is so important, because we've seen over the last year or so many of those parents, you know, they connect and they hang out. And so then their kids have play dates at their house, or they hang out as well. And it's building that community, building that network, because most of the parents are straight and cisgender. So they've never had to deal with, you know, coming out or having to deal with questioning your gender identity. You know, this is just a great way for them to kind of talk to other parents who've been through it at whatever part of their journey, whether it's brand new for them or, you know, like, oh, honey, I've had, my kid's been out for 12 years. I know, yes, I've done that. I've gone through this issue before. Let me tell you what I've done, or how I handled it badly or well. You know, there's always that, you know, learn from my mistakes, don't do these things, sort of things. But Beyond that, something that's come up, and I have to give a shout out to SJC Cares, because my involvement with that led me to this partnership with Seasons Counseling. Yeah, Becky, high five to that. What came from that was I was in a meeting with Ali Sobieski, who's the executive director at Seasons Counseling, and she was talking about their partnership with Ivy Tech and how they were providing free counseling to the students at Ivy Tech. And I was like, well, hold on. And so after that meeting, I was like, I want to talk to you more about this. How do you do this? What's the cost of this? And she said, it's usually about $5,000 a year. And the way that they do that is it's a reduced price because they bring in a counseling student from the School of Counseling at IUSB. And this is part of their internship, is to meet with clients. And so they pay the intern a stipend, and we pay them, I think it's $35 a session, which is much cheaper than paying a licensed professional to do all that. And it's quality care, it's quality counseling. And it's really wonderful because if I had to hire a mental health professional to provide that, the infrastructure that I'd have to put in, paying them, it would be a huge chunk of money that we as an agency just don't have. And this has just been a great partnership on many reasons, because we've had youth and even adults who have taken advantage of this program, and it's been great. And the wonderful thing, if Ali was here, she'd tell you too, is when we first started launching this and advertising this widely amongst our network, she was getting calls from people who were like, so I read where Season Counseling is partnering with LGBTQ Center to provide free therapy. And they were like, yes, would you like to sign up for that? And a lot of people were like, no. We've just been searching for a mental health provider. And we know because you're working with them that you're somebody we can trust. And we have insurance, we don't need the free, we'll save the free for people who need that. And that's been wonderful, just because we have a limited list of resources that we know personally that if I send somebody to them, that they are going to be okay. That they won't be misgendered, they won't be judged for who they are, and that's really a difficulty for the community in general. So they're always looking for places to go, and of course those places have wait lists and a backlog of people that they need to see. So this was just a great accidental addition to this, is that it's also opened up to a lot of people a whole new area that they can go to and feel safe to do that. So it's been a wonderful partnership, and we're really excited to continue that. They're actually going to be our social work supervisor, so that we can have clinical placement of Masters of Social Work students, hopefully starting in January, fingers crossed. So, just bringing more opportunity for us to serve more of our population. So that's my presentation. Thank you.
All did wonderful on time. We have about 15 minutes left for your questions. So yeah, we want you to ask our wonderful panelists questions that you might have about their work, about the programs that they're doing, any of the initiatives that they're running. So yeah, just raise your hand and I'll point you out and we can start. In the back.
Hi, first time I want to thank all of you guys for coming and sharing your amazing work. I heard of the Erika County Health Department. So I have a question for interview here, and are we going to be bringing something like this to Upper County, because it is so needed?
Okay. Well, this might be a better question for our CEO, but right now, I mean, Elkhart County has some Boys and Girls Clubs as well. Since it's a different county, we don't have it's not part of our exact club, but I think if it's something that you see as a need, and I don't actually know, I'm not as familiar with what Elkhart County's Boys and Girls Club already offers, but definitely, I mean, we definitely are close with the club, and we, it's something that we can always help any Boys and Girls Club in a different county to set up a similar program. But yeah, I don't know exactly what they have going on And Jacqueline, do you know anything that you would add to that?
Kevin and I
Jacqueline's our
actually talked about it, and so about, I think it's age, the health department in that conversation. That'd be great, thank you so much. I have a child actually goes to when he goes to after school, and he's extremely introverted. So or identify not easier than
For the LGBTQ Center, is there any ways, I work in Prairie Middle School, is there any transportation options, like if my children, like if my students don't have transportation, like what is that?
At this point in time, we don't have any transportation opportunities. It would just be, how to get to us. The other option is to get onto the Discord channel.
Yeah, that was my next question.
Yeah.
How we.
Yeah, so if you go to our website, onto our youth resource page, there's a link for the youth to fill out. It's just contact information, really. And then after that, if they can't come into the center, then we do kind of either a Zoom or Google Meet, just to make sure, like, I can say I'm a 12-year-old girl, but if I get onto a Zoom and you look at me, clearly I'm not.
Right.
So we want to make sure who the youth is before we put them into the.
Okay, perfect, thanks.
I have one for our community mom. So I think I definitely love everything that you're doing. And one of the questions that I just thought of when you were talking, do you ever experience times where kids struggle to disclose to you because they're worried about the safety issues that might come out for them when they disclose to you? Like their worries of just getting it out there and letting somebody know?
No, because it's a safe space. I honestly haven't had any issues with disclosure about something. It's a safe space to be able to say what you feel. As long as they know, as long as there isn't a clear, you have I'm going to shoot somebody at this time, at this day, as long as it's not something like that, and they know that. If they come to me and say something like that to me, or Heather, this is Heather. She hates when I do that. But when they say something, they know that if you have a clear cut, I can't even think of the word, a plan to do something, then we all have the duty to report.
What if they are, it's not easy to get out of that lifestyle sometimes. What kind of skills and advice do you give them when they do want to get out of that lifestyle?
So we do exposure trips. We take them out. We've been to Indianapolis 15,000 times. Chicago. They meet with different business owners. We also have been doing a workshop with Larry Davis, and they learn different skills on how to do forging. So we're also putting them in places where they're learning different things. And the hard part about getting out of a certain way of living is learning a new way of living. That's hard. It's change. If I'm used to walking around and I'm hustling all my life, and I'm getting money here like this, and now I have to wait a week for a check. It's hard to think about. So I literally pull them and force them into a space. Come here, you're gonna learn something. Come, it's okay. And so we are literally hands-on, boots on the ground. Like, we do things at home so that it's really comfortable. And it's not, the hard part is getting out of your head to get out of that lifestyle.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing what you're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Takisha, I think what you're doing is like courageous and remarkable in a lot of ways. And there's something that you said in your talk that really stood out to me. You're going to where the kids are. And I think as a community, we need to do a much better job of going directly to where they are and making it easy for them, and then not giving them a choice and embracing them and loving them for exactly who they are. So I really commend you on that. And I think I don't think Boys and Girls Club, we would love to brainstorm with you on how we do that together, because that's where we're gonna get. And for us, the a huge deficiency or challenge that we're seeing is how can we retain and recruit teams? And those are the ones that need, that supportive, safe place that we keep mentioning again and again. And so how we can connect the dots and give them not only these experiences that you guys are clearly giving them, but then a place to continue on and get greater exposure. So
And I am really big on connecting dots and because we all of us are doing something really good. And so if we, even though we work differently, but we work together, because there are a lot of things that we cannot provide. And like MHAM has a pro bono project where they are offering free therapy for 12 weeks, and we need, of course, we need therapists to come in and help. So they'll throw that out there. Therapists want to, give an hour or so a week for a couple weeks. Come on, MHAM. But I just lost my train of thought. I'm not doing that again. I just lost it. But connecting people together. And so there are like transformation ministries. If I'm just really honest and really blunt. If the Boys and Girls Model Transformation Ministries and 5-Star Life, let me tell you, my kids, my son was shot and killed, okay? I have 5, those 3 of my kids went through transformation ministries from 5th, 6th grade, all the way through. If it had not been for transformation ministries, my daughters would not be in college. Both of them are in 2 separate colleges, and they did not come home. They did not quit. They're still going. And so I can't do what transformation ministries do, but I can bring some people in. So modeling other organizations, it's okay to do that. It is totally okay. And so that is bringing transformation ministries, MHAM, Reflection, Psych Point, Boys and Girls Club, the health department. It's bringing everybody together instead of looking at it like, we do this and I want to do that. It's okay, you can do that. But let's work together in doing it. So all of us coming together, I promise you, we will change the narrative in South Bend with the violence. If we could honestly just come together, don't look at my past. I have one. Look at where I'm at and where I'm going. I'm looking at where you're going and where you're going and where you're going and what you want to do. So man, please, yes, let's work together. Please.
Just to go back off that, when you talk about getting into the community and meeting them where they're at, are these just individuals that have, are they just moms that's lost those children, or are you open to, other community members being able to be a part of that with you?
Absolutely.
And the reason I ask that is I'm a community health worker, so I'm all about community and I work in Elkhart County. I live in St. Joe County. One of my biggest battles right now is kind of like you mentioned, and I actually put it on my form, is community resources coming together, right? It's like instead of collaborating, we're competing. I have a multitude of community health workers that know that's my area, or I contact St. Joe County for a resource. No, have them call me. It's too much competition instead of collaboration. So the reason I ask is because for me, for example, I would love to be able to go into this, into the community and meet them where they're at. I would love to be a part of that team. I live on the north side, so I'm dead smack in the middle of all the, it's music to my ears at night. No exaggeration. So if that's something that's open to community members, how can we get a hold of you?
So we have a table in the, and you can get our card.
By the way.
But we have a table and we have our cards, and we are connected. The number 2 will be the change. And we're also working with MHAM. I am a founder of Connected to Change, and I work for MHAM. Okay. So, and I'm a community health worker.
Okay,
So like,
okay,
and I'm
perfect.
connected with the health department. It's like, it goes on and on and on. So absolutely we do have cards. Our stuff is long, but I have a ton of business cards out there.
And then just my last question is, what, for moms that have lost children, as soon as you started speaking, I immediately wrote somebody on Facebook, like, and went live, like, this, I'm hearing this right now, like, this is for you. What does it look like for moms that have lost their children with you guys? Like, do you guys connect with them too, the same way
Yes.
we're meeting these youth in the community? Are we meeting moms in the community as well?
Yes, we are. So, my co-founder, Gloria, she is the one she's reaching out to the moms.
Okay.
And we have popping heels. We're setting up to do some like circles where us moms just get together and we can talk and vent. And we wanna also do like, some getaways, a weekend in a hotel and, I don't know, we just pamper ourselves, just some fun stuff, you know what I mean? So we are, we definitely reach out to moms, and we do a lot of stuff is outreach one-on-one.
Yeah.
Just because you gotta build the relationship. And so we are building those relationships with moms. When you meet a mom that has lost her child to gun violence, she is very hesitant in who she talks to. And you don't wanna talk to people because you don't know the person who shot your kid, this person's related. It's a whole lot of stuff that goes with it. But we absolutely do. And we absolutely want all the moms. We have a Papa Hill coming up in November. We just had one last weekend, sorry. November the 27th. So it's right after Thanksgiving. We do things, and during the holiday times is the worst times going into the new year. So the November the 27th, we're having a Papa Hill at Reflections. So, but on our website, the dates and stuff is there. So please, if you have moms or know someone that has lost their person to gun violence, website.
Can you please explain what a pocket hill is?
A popping heel is the bullets that we take from people out of their guns, and people give us bullets. We take the bracelets apart, the bullets apart. So you take the life out of the bullet. We dispose of the gunpowder, we take the projectile, we put it on the air, and then we make the bracelets. We make these, and the people come and they sit at the table, and they just make these bracelets, and we put a Bible verse inside every bullet shell. And so when we do that, we gift them to people that have lost. They go inside of a bag to parents or people that have lost someone to violence, gun violence. And then we use them as a fundraising tool.
Should I?
Go ahead.
Just want to give a shout out to Keisha. I'm from Transformation Ministry, so not just because she said that, but she's family. So if you want to put a face, here's one. The Pop and Heal. Keisha came to us as staff. We have a team building and bonding activities that we do. And so it's not only, it's very symbolic when you do the Pop and Heal. It's also, it just connects you to the pain that can, the shooting and violence all can, and it's just something about, I think it took me a minute to pop mine, but I got it after a while, and it was something to it. So what Keisha's doing, we want to commend you because it's enough for everyone. We have partnerships. I'm looking across the room, looking over there at SJ, Steve, Rebecca, and this partnership for children, just different facilities. We can't do it alone. So we've got all kids need each and every one of us. So thank you, Keisha. Thank you, everyone up there for what you're doing. Everyone that's here in this room for the work that you do. I don't know specifically, but I know you're here for purpose. So we are just glad to unite and be a united front because kids need us all. And what I can't do for one, somebody else can. So know there's enough to go around. Thank you. Keep up the good work, girl.
So I work at Newfound Justice Center with all of our kids in custody.
So what you're speaking about, is very close to home. Would you guys ever do groups with youth in custody?
Girl, yes. Heather, she's a psychologist, she's a doctor. She hates when I do this, but she will come to, oh my goodness, yes, because some of our kids are in the detention center. And I like to, why are you doing this? I mean, she has seen me in action. Like, stop, we would love to, you just have no idea. Girl, I can click my heels together.
I will definitely have to go with you because, there's definitely a need for that for our kids. And I'm speaking to everybody in the room, if anybody has resources for our kids in custody, we need it, so.
And don't give up on the kids in custody. Please don't. Don't do that. Please don't give up on the kids in custody. They have a purpose. There's something there. They are just lost in the moment. They are hurt and they are lost. Please don't give up on our babies in custody. That's what people do. And this is what causes, the ones in custody are the ones that are causing a lot of the problems and issues that are going on. But they want something, they just don't know what it is. Please don't give up on our babies.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause to our panel. Let's remind you that the next panel, Crisis Services, starts at 11:15 in the same place in the auditorium. And then also in between that time, feel free, now or after that, to go back to our resource tables, get information, get some snacks. Thank you all again for coming.